the guys back in the 60s and 70s, I mean, they're smoking cigarettes on the line, before GPs, and, you see these old pics and stuff. It was a different time. And now what you have to do, you have to train and you have to be a professional athlete. That's how you succeed at this sport.
Flawless. McGrath is not close enough to make a move on the final turn. It is Jeff Emig.
I met a gypsy.
You get it a little bit in the States with like a home race, but nothing's the same. Like everybody can relate to an Australian doing well at Melbourne. So the perfect example from that night was Aaron Taney. Maybe the best race of his entire career. Like he was phenomenal, man. He was phenomenal on the 450 for the Australian Supercross because they had both that was what was cool as well, is having both championships there. But I mean, you just got to see an Australian crowd. They didn't give a fuck what team he raced for. They didn't give a fuck about anything other than like, oh, that's my guy in my hometown. And I think that brings a level of atmosphere to any sporting event. Like the biggest sporting events in the planet are international sporting events.
Yeah, I mean, and we're gonna have that with Anstey when we go to England for the first round. Yeah. And the different countries. I don't know if we have anybody from Singapore
Probably
racing.
not.
Probably not. But also the one thing about the World Supercross Championship is, in the press conferences that we had in Melbourne last year, Tony Cochran, who was the former president of Supercross Global, he made mention for the endemic, manufacturers and people in the industry that sell products and everything. North America is 30% of off-road motorcycle sales. Yep. You're like, wow, super important. 30% are concentrated right here in North America. He goes, well, that leaves 70% throughout the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And that's where Supercross Global and World Supercross take what's happened here in America and let's take this to the world. And I think it's a little bit misunderstood, but that if you think about what world football teams do in the summertime, they do the International Champions Cup and Manchester City and Barcelona and my team Liverpool and whoever, they all go play friendlies around the world to spread
the game.
They're like ministers of the game, right? They're spreading the gospel of that sport. And NFL does games in England. You know what I mean? NBA has got games in China, and so trying to take this game to different places, because there's something about the magic of the live sporting event.
For
right?
sure.
Why not just race every Supercross in Marvel Stadium and we'll just broadcast it to the world?
Yeah.
Right? Boom. It'd be easy. It's inside the stadium. Well, there's something about what it's like to be a fan and go to a live sporting event. I went two weekends ago. I went to LA Galaxy, LAFC, right? That's our hometown rivalry here, the Derby. I'm a Galaxy fan. FC is the champions this year. Trust me, my buddies let me know it. But this is the rivalry in LA with MLS soccer. Like, it's on. And that live event is like nothing else. And so now with Supercross Global, we're going to take that around the world. And, it's in such an infancy of what it will be in 5 years or 10 years from now. And I'm really thankful to be there in my position and to have the ability to help spread Supercross throughout the world. I mean, you go to England, you go to Australia. Yes, we've raced there before, right? But if there's a race in Dubai, I mean, you're bringing in a whole new fan group that not only is it on TV and broadcast to the world, but then you're having this live event, and there's something about seeing it live that is so different, especially with Supercross, And I just can't wait to get to experience that, and experience all these different places in the world. It should be pretty awesome.
Yeah, and dude, like, you're so right. I mean, I had this. I've been lucky enough to travel a lot with bikes. It's one of the favorite things that I do. And we were in Vietnam, and we were riding these Chinese like Harley replicas, basically from the north of Vietnam to the south of Vietnam. And so we're going up this hill, and there's this like dirt poor, dude. It's crazy poor place, and these people built like huts and like a little village, but on the side of the freeway, and like it's like a mountain range kind of highway, and then they've like built their houses off the side, and there's all these scooters parked along like the guardrail where if you go over there's the houses. And so there's these young kids that they heard bikes coming up the hill, and you could see them like running up the side of the road, and we're like kind of cruising along. And then we got past them, and there was a Repsol Honda, there was a Movistar Yamaha, there was a
right,
and it was like the MotoGP like start grid replica, and these kids, just they would have been teenage boys, just frothing, dude. And so they've no helmets, no shoes, nothing. They've jumped 2 up each on the back of their scooters, and they're like fully like hanging off the side of the bike, Marquez style, like trying to scrape. And that's MotoGP. Like they're the poorest of the poor, and you know they have that connection to the sport, and there's that aspirational like level of the elite guys doing something that's relatable to them because they ride a motorcycle. And it's
you're gonna go through there 10 years from now, and somewhere in there they're gonna have something that resembles a pump track, but they're gonna be calling it Supercross.
100%.
They're gonna have
man.
some scooter with Ken Roczen #1 championship plate graphics, or whoever the champion will be, you know, at that time. And so that's where the real opportunity is.
In Bali, it's the same in Bali. Like there's dude with trail bikes that have already got like the Monster stickers and the Red Bull, and so it's like I think that people maybe they just haven't had those experiences of like traveling to those places and seeing just what a motorcycle fan is, you know, like it's not just Temecula, it's not just Florida, there is a global fan base for two-wheeled sport. And I mean, Supercross is maybe the most exciting one. Like every MotoGP dude I know loves motocross, all the Formula One boys, every downhill mountain bike world champion loves this shit. So it's like, for us to, like you said, go and spread that message, I mean, there's such an upside to it.
Yeah, there's certainly a level of respect among the other athletes. You know, definitely. I was thinking about it when I was driving down here. Is when in the early days when you know motocross came over from Europe in the late '60s, Edison Dye brought over the Husqvarnas in '66, '68. We had a championship, racing championships, Trans AMAs and stuff, '71, '72. You know, Supercrosses began just right up the road from here, about an hour from where I'm at, LA Coliseum. And in the 80s is when Supercross kind of started to, okay, this is something different than motocross. It's not the Super Bowl of motocross, it's Supercross. And then the riders before me, like Rick Johnson, Ward, Glover, you know, they start going to the race in Paris. They did races in Osaka, Tokyo, you know, all Barcelona. We did little velodromes in Madrid, Supercrosses in Stockholm, Sweden. And during that late 80s, 90s, we went all over the world. At the end of the racing season, we went global. That doesn't happen anymore because the manufacturers, teams, sponsors, whoever have now contracted their athletes to stay here and only race in America. Like Ricky raced very little outside of America except for Motocross of Nations. You know, hardly at all. But in my generation, what we contributed, you know, and we just happened to be at the right place at the right time, but we went global all over the place to race. All that is stopped with Supercross. So you don't see, haven't in the past decade or so, you don't see the very best Supercross riders anywhere except right here. Probably by design with the race teams and all this sort of stuff, and they've got their business and their interest. But what you're going to see over the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years is as the rider contracts start to shuffle through, some riders up for his contract's up, and his agent's going, hey, this guy wants to race World Supercross. Then the dance begins there. How does all this shake down? It's a massive transition for the business of Supercross to take riders that only race in North America, and now they want to race here and around the world. Yep. So if you talked about Honda. If you're Honda, your budgets for North America are to keep Chase Sexton in North America and sell motorcycles in North America, right? That's the business. Well, now up pops Supercross Global and the FIM World Supercross Championship and this new opportunity. Oh, shit, how do the budgets come from Japan, from Honda in Japan? Now, wait, we're going to take some of this North America budget and we're going to give it to, Urive or somebody that now is equity, stake, ownership, Honda team in World Supercross. Well, Honda North America doesn't want that to happen, right? They're not going, give up that budget. So, see, there's all these things behind the scenes that have to transition, and then what we're also going to see is there will be a split between riders that want to specialize in Supercross, and it'll give them an opportunity, depending on how the championship series, the championship schedules, how they sort through. Some may, I love riding pro motocross myself, love it, okay? But there are other guys that say, I want to race Supercross all year, and I want to specialize in that. Just like Stefan Everts and Hurlings and Cairoli, they all had the opportunity to come race in America here. They didn't want to ride Supercross. They love riding motocross. So you're seeing the fracture there, and that's great because as the sport grows, there will be more riders to fill the spots, to backfill. If this rider goes here, that rider goes there, there will be riders that step up. There will be opportunities, and there'll be great racing, just like there is in MotoGP here in North America and World Supercross. But the big thing is what we're going to do with World Supercross is we're going to take this sport global, and we really haven't even started the first scratch on the surface. Yeah. We're just getting started, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. One thing that I know is I really believe in the leadership team, Adam Bailey, Ryan Sanderson, and everyone involved with their group, is they love the sport of Supercross. And this opportunity came about for them to acquire the sanctioning from the FIM, and they're going for it. And it's really, when I first heard the news on Instagram, right, Adam put something out, and I said, hey, man, congrats on, this new opportunity. If you're looking for a analyst, I'm your guy, And now here we are. So, yeah.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.